What is going on? It is your boy RIP Lazy. Thank you so much for tuning into today's video. We are unloading, unpacking the HCS, the Halo Championship Series, the final major of the year in Fort Worth, Texas. The grand finals was between OpTic Gaming and SSG Space Station Gaming, and oh my gosh, what a series to remember. Absolutely unreal, unprecedented of what happened and how we got there. And we got to first backtrack a little bit to pool play. So jumping into Pool 1, Space Station Gaming was the #1 seed going into this tournament, and they ended up beating Navi and Cloud9, but they lost to LVT, who was a open bracket team. So they went through the gauntlet, and they ended up beating Space Station Gaming and Cloud9, and due to that placement, that gave Navi the nod for the #1 seed in Pool 1, something that I don't think anyone would have expected or thought could happen. And so that's just the chaos that ensued from Pool 1. Furthermore, chaos continued in Pool 2. So Pool 2, we had Native White make the run through the open bracket, and they ended up beating both Complexity 3-0 and the Impact team 3-1, and then going down 3-1 to Sentinels, who took first place. No questions about it. Sentinels 3-0'd, won their respective pool. But Native White outshining Complexity, who was a pool team to begin with, so big move there by Native White. We jump into Pool 3, and might have been the run of the tournament. Shopify Rebellion with a really good noob. Oh my gosh, they made the gauntlet run out of the open bracket. They ended up defeating Native Red 3-1 and 3-0ing Alpha Esports and losing in a Game 5 to FaZe Clan very easily. A couple kills this way, a couple kills that way, and they could have been the Pool 3 winner. Could have easily been, but they ended up falling to FaZe Clan, and that leads us to Pool 4, where I called it in the intro video to HCS Fort Worth. I said the biggest matchup we got to watch out of pool play is Quadrant and OpTic Gaming, and oh my gosh, watching that matchup between Quadrant and OpTic Gaming, Quadrant was on another level. If the tournament would have been just Friday, I think Quadrant could have, not easily, but they would have dominated, and they could have easily taken home, not taken home, but easily been able to make it to the grand finals and be able to compete against whoever else would have made it on that Friday. They dominated OpTic Gaming, and the doubts continued to flow in. Lots of beef on Twitter talking about they need to replace APG or move on and start a new roster of some sort. But man, Lucid was getting cooked. APG was struggling. Formal didn't look like Formal, and Trippy was, I don't know, man. They just looked very tough. And then you can see G1, another team that made it out of the open bracket, that they almost beat OpTic in Game 5. OpTic Gaming was one game away from falling all the way down to the 3rd seed out of Pool 4. So Pool 4 was absolutely madness and chaotic. And what I really liked about this tournament was that every pool team progressed to either winners or the losers bracket. Okay, this is where it's going to be a little bit different. And Worlds next month in Seattle is that only the top 3 teams make it. Top 2 go to winners, the championship bracket, and the 3rd team goes to the losers bracket. Whereas in this tournament, everybody made it. So here we look at the championship bracket. We see the teams at the top. Shopify Rebellion, it was a clean, easy 3-0 sweep over LVT. That's where that SSG team could have and should have been placed, but unfortunately they did not. So they went on to the quarterfinals where they took care of business against Quadrant. No one was expecting that. Totally chaotic, totally chaos. And back at round 1, Native Red 3-2 against Native White. Then they go on to destroy Navi 3-1, and they take care of business against Shopify Rebellion 3-1, and they move on to the winners final. You look at that bottom part of the bracket, and out the gate, FaZe had the first round bye, and Sentinels had the first round bye. We had FaZe, Sentinels, OpTic, and SSG. Those were the 4 leaders the 4 number 1 seeds in each of the pools, and they ended up on the same half of the bracket. So you can see OpTic took care of business 3-0, 3-0, beat Space Station Gaming in a Game 5 in the semifinals to make it to winners finals, and that series was unbelievable. SSG took care of business against G1, against Sentinels, and then they fell right there in the semifinals. You can see the grand finals and the finals reset, but if we jump on board over to the elimination bracket, this is where things got really dicey and really saucy. Quadrant with that early exit to Shopify Rebellion, they were in round 2 of the elimination. They didn't even make it to the quarters yet or the semis, but they took care of business against Complexity in a Game 5. Very competitive series. A 3-0 domination against G1, which G1, look at that run they made. 3-1 against Alpha Esports, 3-1 against Navi. And then they just ran out of steam against that Quadrant team that everyone knew was going to be going on. Then we look up Phase 3-0 Sentinels, which was very surprising of how early Sentinels and Phase both got knocked down to the elimination bracket. Space Station took care of business there against Quadrant 3-1. Phase wins in that intense Game 5. And then semifinals, Space Station, they just rolled Phase Clan. And Space Station rolled Phase, and then rolled Native Red, which allowed them to progress to the grand finals. And here in the grand finals, the first best of 7, so Space Station needed to win both. They had to win the grand finals first and a reset against OpTic Gaming. OpTic Gaming needed to just win one best of 7. That first best of 7, it was, a domination factor. Recharge was competitive 3-2. 50-44 Aquarius. That's competitive. 2-0 Oddball and Livefire. 2-1 Argyle. I don't see Argyle moving on past Season 2 of HCS. I think that's going to be gone. That was a very great game. OpTic Gaming, though, they held their composure. They truly held it. They could have been down. You get 4-0 swept in a best of 7. That's it. there's no way we're coming back to it. But you jump into the grand final reset, and they came out swinging. A 2-0 win on Empyrean. The Streets game, 50-49. I think that one is going to haunt SSG for a little bit, but I think they'll be able to power on and move on. Great domination on Strongholds by SSG. The Livefire, when you see 7 caps in King of the Hill, that's just unbelievable. That Aquarius game, I happened to watch it, and it was an onslaught. Look back earlier, the first grand finals, 50-44. 6 kill margin of victory. This was a 27 margin of victory for SSG over OpTic Gaming. Took care of business on Streets for Game 6 and forced that Game 7 where Solitude, new map, new in the rotation mid-season, and OpTic Gaming, man, they just dominated. So big congrats to the HCS Fort Worth champions, OpTic Gaming. Oh my gosh, what a great tournament. What a crazy tournament. And man, I can't wait for HCS Worlds. It's going to be absolutely unbelievable. The final standings for the HCS Fort Worth are here listed on the screen. OpTic Gaming took care of business, followed by SSG, Native Red, FaZe Clan, Quadrant, Shopify Rebellions. That right there, that is the biggest eye-opener, the biggest shocker. Ryan Noob and company just absolutely mowed through the competition, through the open bracket, into pool play, put them up in a good position for the championship bracket and the losers bracket, and finishing with that top 5-6 positioning is going to set them up really well for Worlds, and we'll see what can be ran about that. I think the biggest shocker on this is that 7/8 finish by Sentinels. Sentinels has been itching. If I correctly remember, they just lost at SLC, Salt Lake City, to Space Station Gaming with Sparty, and man, that 7/8 finish, I know they're not happy about. They're going to be coming back to the drawing board, and man, that top 6, top 7, top 8 is going to be very competitive going into Worlds. Of course, can't forget there was a $2,000 HCS Fort Worth FFA Championship that was going on, and shout out to Furiously, who ended up winning. He's the FFA champion there in HCS Fort Worth, so big shout out to you, and congrats. And so this is what makes the HCS Worlds next month in October in Seattle, and beautiful, beautiful Seattle, Washington. Absolutely astonishing and incredible. In the top left photo there is OpTic Gaming winning the first event of Season 2, HCS Charlotte, followed by FaZe Clan. They went back-to-back in Arlington and Dallas, Texas. Two events where they dominated. They absolutely dominated. The next tournament win was by SSG Space Station Gaming in Salt Lake City, Utah, where they hosted. It was their own event, so big shout out to them. And then we got OpTic Gaming there on the bottom right, finishing off and making one of the most historic turnarounds, championship Sunday runs I think I've ever witnessed in Halo tournament history. And there's APG holding his dog, absolutely cutie patootie there. So, whew. I don't know how Worlds is going to top this, but I'm sure there'll be a new storyline. We are just over a month away until HCS Worlds in Seattle, Washington. And to all the competitors there, the top 16 teams, good luck. Safe travels to anyone that is coming out to Seattle. Enjoy, have fun. And we'll be making a prediction video before Worlds. And man, I can't wait. It's going to be a great time. Big shout out to OpTic Gaming for another LAN event championship. Especially after all of the doubters, all of the naysayers. I mean, you just come back here and you look at the tweets that OpTic Gaming, they tweeted out. Trippy being so proud of his squad, loving them, loving the fans, wanting to get back to work, immediately getting ready for Worlds. Lucid talking about how grateful, the resiliency. Formal talking about how everyone was doubting them except themselves. When you believe in yourself with that championship mentality, how can you lose? How can you lose? And when you pull out, you're the Season 1 world champions. So why do you need a roster change? You don't. So Formal stuck to it, and man, they made some really good improvements to secure this LAN victory. Lunchbox, their coach, very proud of them in that grand finals battle. Kind of a similar event with the Season 1 Halo HCS World Championships in Seattle, where SSG as Cloud9 forced a grand finals reset, and then of course OpTic Gaming went on to win the grand finals reset in the Halo World Championship for Season 1. And OpTic Gaming, just talking about being proud of the composure and the gameplay, and just so proud of them. So proud of them sticking to it. Being one of the few teams, being really one of the only teams that doesn't make roster changes after every event. They stick together, and they've just been grinding and working together. And just big shout out and big proud of the boys in the Green Wolves. So without further ado, if you made it this far, let me know your predictions for HCS Worlds. Who do you think is going to take it home? Or tell me what the biggest upset, the biggest shocker from HCS Fort Worth was. And stay tuned for the next video. And until next time, your boy Lazy says, peace out, y'all. I love you. Go tell someone that you love them and care for them. And until next time, be safe and have fun. Peace out, y'all.